If you've been researching Dallas-Fort Worth suburbs, you've probably heard of names such as Frisco, Prosper, McKinney, South Lake, and maybe even Celina. But there's one city that often flies under the radar, despite consistently ranking as one of the best places to live in all of Texas. And to be honest with you, if I didn't already build my dream home in South Lake, Texas, this would be my next route to take. And that city specifically is Flower Mound. Now, what's interesting about Flower Mound is that it doesn't generate the same type of hype as some of the newer boom towns across North Texas. You don't hear about massive population explosions, you don't hear about thousands of acres of new development every single year, and you don't hear about billion-dollar projects grabbing headlines every single month. But that's actually one of the reasons people actually love the city of Flower Mound, because while many North Texas cities are still trying to become something, Flower Mound has already established exactly what it is. It's established, it's mature, it's incredibly well maintained, and for many families, it offers one of the best overall lifestyles anywhere in the entire Dallas-Fort Worth Metro. So today we're going to be going much deeper than the typical city tour video. We're going to be talking about the real reasons that people move here. We're talking the neighborhoods, the schools, the actual housing market, the hidden advantages, the downside that nobody talks about, and by the end of this video, you'll know whether or not Flower Mound should be on your short list if you're considering a move to North Texas. Before we get into this week's video, my name is Casey McEwen. I'm a licensed real estate agent and investor here, and I cover the entire Dallas-Fort Worth Metro. I've been doing it for about a decade, and I absolutely love what I do. I create content on here weekly, so if you haven't already, make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and let's jump right into this week's video. So the big question here is, what makes Flower Mound different? Well, the first thing you need to understand about Flower Mound is that it wasn't built like many modern suburbs. A lot of cities across North Texas exploded overnight because developers essentially bought large farmland and built massive master plan communities. While Flower Mound specifically, it grew much differently. The town intentionally protected large portions of open space, they limited certain types of development, they focused heavily on preserving trees, parks, and natural areas, and that decision completely changed the character of the city. Now, when you're driving around Flower Mound, you'll notice something almost immediate. Trees. A ton of trees. For people relocating from other parts of the country, this may sound silly, but if you've spent any time really in the North Texas area, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Many suburbs can feel flat and exposed, while Flower Mound feels established. Much more mature landscaping, rolling terrain, large green belts, trails, and neighborhoods that don't feel like they were built yesterday. That's one of the biggest reasons buyers fall in love with this actual city, and I can tell you myself, I have sold a ton of new construction homes all over the metro. The downside about these new communities, regardless how many amenities they may have, is it just feels like it truly was developed and built yesterday. Now let's talk about one of Flower Mound's biggest advantages, and that's going to be the location. Obviously, I'm a little partial here. I live right next door in South Lake. I am a huge advocate of where Flower Mound is located. Now, this may actually be the city's greatest strength. Now, Flower Mound sits almost perfectly between Dallas and Fort Worth. It's minutes, obviously, from the DFW airport, and that's a bigger deal than most people realize. For frequent travelers such as myself, this can literally change your lifestyle. Imagine leaving your house and being at the airport in less than 15 or 20 minutes. No hour-long airport commute, no fighting through downtown traffic, no spending half your day trying to get on the flight. And many executives, business owners, and remote workers specifically choose Flower Mound because of this. And then there's also access to employment. Within reasonable commuting distance, you have Legacy West, you have the Platinum Corridor, you got Las Colinas, DFW Airport, Employment Centers, Alliance, downtown Dallas, and of course downtown Fort Worth, and several major corporate headquarters. You basically position yourself close enough to almost everything without feeling like you're living in the middle of everything. And for many families, that's going to be the sweet spot. Now let's go ahead and address the elephant in the room, because most people watching YouTube videos are likely watching these YouTube videos for educational purposes, to learn more about specific cities or areas where they want to move, or maybe where they don't want to move. But a lot of the route for really honestly people at the end of the day relocating here, they're relocating for the schools, because for many families this is the #1 reason Flower Mound makes the list. Many of the city feeds into specifically Lewisville ISD. Now, some people may immediately hear Lewisville ISD and assume it's one giant school district, and technically that's true, but the reality is it's much more nuanced. Flower Mound schools perform exceptionally well. Many campuses consistently rank among the strongest in the entire district including Flower Mound High School, Marcus High School, and the STEM opportunities, also athletics, fine arts, academic programs. They are all seen highly coveted in Flower Mound. Now, the district itself offers a tremendous amount of opportunity, and one thing that many relocation buyers often overlook is going to be the size. Larger school districts often provide more opportunities than the smaller districts. You've got more advanced coursework, you've got more extracurricular activities, more socialized programs, and more athletic opportunities, and Flower Mound families benefit from every single one of those. So here's where Flower Mound really separates itself: the lifestyle. Most people don't move here because of one thing. They move here because everything works together. You have over 1,000 acres of parkland, you've got miles and miles of trails, you've got Grapevine Lake access for boating, fishing, kayaking, and mountain biking, as well as running trails, sports complexes, community events, family activities, and unlike, unfortunately, many suburbs, residents actually use these amenities. People are outside, kids are playing, families are using the walking trails, and neighbors just ultimately know each other. There's a genuine community and connection feel here, and that's becoming increasingly rare, unfortunately, with our metro, because we have a ton of people relocating here that just kind of relocate and stay in their own bubble. They don't venture out, they don't meet their neighbors. And the unfortunate side of that is it can often feel lonely, especially for families that do relocate here from out of state, but I can tell you that's not something you struggle with here in Flower Mound. Now let's talk about the neighborhoods, because Flower Mound offers significantly more variety than many people even realize. Bridlewood is one of the most recognized communities where you've got golf course living, mature trees, large homes, excellent location, and then you have Wellington, one of the most popular family-friendly neighborhoods in the city, which is known for amenities, community events, pools, tennis courts, parks, and strong resale demand. And for luxury buyers, communities like the Lanny, Chateau du Lac, and Point Noble offer truly incredible custom homes, especially around Grapevine Lake. And these are some of the most impressive properties in all of North Texas. And then there, of course, are going to be dozens of smaller neighborhoods throughout the city that also provide exceptional value. The important thing to understand is that Flower Mound doesn't feel cookie cutter. Every neighborhood has its own personality. And like I mentioned earlier in this video, it's not a city that has been built out largely in the last 10 years. Of course, you've got some newer construction, you've got some older construction, but it's not a city like Frisco, Prosper, and Celina that all largely got built out within the last 10 or 20 years. Now let's go ahead and talk what I'm an expert in most, and that's the real estate market here, because Flower Mound has quietly become one of the strongest housing markets in all of North Texas. Not necessarily because it grows the fastest, but because the supply remains limited. There's simply just not enough land left, and that changes everything. Cities like Celina can continue expanding outward. Flower Mound, it can't. Most of the city has already been built out, which means inventory is always going to stay relatively constrained. And when demand remains strong while supply remains limited, values tend to hold up well. And that's one reason Flower Mound has historically performed very well during market shifts. I can tell you right now, we are definitely experiencing quite a shift since the peak of the market in 2022, but even individual buyers that I helped purchase a house in 2022 and 2023 are not sitting upside down in their house in the city of Flower Mound because, again, limited inventory and just a high desirability for this great city of Flower Mound to live in. Unless you reach out to me and you buy a house and then 6 months later you decide to sell, you're gonna be just fine purchasing a house long-term in the city of Flower Mound. Now let's be honest, no city is going to be perfect, and the first downside to the city of Flower Mound is going to be affordability. Really anything around the city of Flower Mound is unfortunately not going to be incredibly affordable. Flower Mound is definitely not cheap anymore. The secret definitely got out years ago, and there's, as I mentioned throughout this video, a lot of desirability and just low inventory, which in itself, if you're a homeowner, it's good news because it's going to keep your value in your home and it's going to have your home value continue to rise. But if you're a buyer trying to get into Flower Mound, it's also not going to make you exceptionally happy knowing that you're going to have to pay a pretty penny to be able to purchase a house in Flower Mound. Now the second downside here is going to be limited new construction. Now if your dream is buy a brand new home in a massive master plan community, well, your options are going to be severely limited in the city of Flower Mound, as I mentioned earlier, because that's not how the city was built. Most buyers here are going to purchase resale homes, maybe a home that needs a little bit of updating, going in and remodeling it yourself. There are definitely new construction opportunities in Flower Mound, but that also it goes back to the affordability option. If you're wanting new construction and you're wanting Flower Mound, you're not going to shell out just one pretty penny. You're probably going to be shelling out quite a few pretty pennies to buy a new construction home in Flower Mound. Now, the third downside is going to be the traffic, and I kind of feel like this is a double-edged sword in itself. Now, while it's better than many parts of DFW, traffic has increased significantly over the last decade, especially around school drop-off times. One thing I will tell you is Flower Mound is not going to be directly in the middle of a bunch of freeways. Now, like I said, it's a double-edged sword, so the good news is that you're going to be away from a lot of that traffic and a lot of that craziness of just highways and interstates and tollways. You are still conveniently located to one freeway to kind of get in and out, but other than that one or maybe two large freeway, you're largely going to be driving to and from areas down just your basic suburban roads rather than hopping on, multiple different freeways like Frisco, where you've got DMT, 121, and 380 corridor up north there. Flower Mound's going to be a lot quieter. And that actually kind of leads me to kind of the last downside, depending on the way that you may see or desire a specific city. And that's because some buyers may find Flower Mound a little too quiet. Now, if you're looking for a more high energy urban environment, well, I can tell you right now, Flower Mound is not going to be the city that needs to be on your list. It's definitely a much slower and quieter, more relaxed feel of a city with much more of a neighborhood community than, for instance, obviously downtown Dallas, the uptown area, Frisco, a lot of these more urban and very busy cities. I actually even had a client that reached out to me from YouTube this past weekend who will be settling not on the city of Frisco because of that very reason. It's too busy. So he's settling on another neighboring city that's a lot quieter than the city of Frisco, similar to what would be Flower Mound, because again, Flower Mound is going to be much more quieter city than really the urban inner cities. So the big question here is, who is Flower Mound perfect for? Well, families, professionals, business owners, frequent travelers, outdoor enthusiasts, people looking for long-term stability, people who value community, people who want an established suburb instead of a rapidly developing one. And on the other side of things, who probably should live here? Well, people looking for the cheapest housing, people wanting a downtown urban lifestyle, people wanting exclusively new construction options, and people who prioritize maximum square footage over overall quality of life. At the end of the day, Flower Mound isn't trying to be the biggest city in North Texas. It's not trying to be the fastest growing city, and it's not trying to be the flashiest city. What it does exceptionally well, though, is provide a balanced lifestyle. We're talking strong schools, excellent location, beautiful neighborhoods, outdoor recreation, community involvement, and long-term stability. And honestly, that's exactly why so many families continue to choose Flower Mound year after year. Now, if you've made it this far in the video and you're considering moving or relocating to the city of Flower Mound, or honestly anywhere else in the entire Dallas-Fort Worth Metro, I would love to be able to help you any possible way that I can. All my information I make sure to leave in the description down below. I also leave it down in a pinned comment. You can reach out to me on Instagram, you can shoot me a text, you can schedule a Zoom call, whatever is easiest for you. Again, as I mentioned earlier at the beginning of this video, I am a licensed real estate agent. I love what I do, and I would love to be able to help you call North Texas your new home. But that's all I got for you guys this week. As always, I appreciate all the love and support. If you haven't already, make sure to like and subscribe to this channel, and make sure to stay tuned for next week's content.